the boy who never gave up. Once upon a time, in a small village nestled between towering mountains and dense forests, there lived a young boy named Samuel. Samuel was unlike other children his age. While most kids enjoyed playing and running around without a care in the world, Samuel had a dream: to become the greatest runner in the kingdom. From the moment he could walk, Samuel had an unbreakable bond with the wind. He would race against the flowing rivers, challenge the rustling leaves, and sprint across open fields with nothing but determination in his heart. However, there was one problem. Samuel had a limp in his right leg due to an accident when he was a baby. Because of this, people often doubted his ability to run, and some even ridiculed him for dreaming of becoming a champion. "Why waste your time, Samuel? You'll never be fast enough with that limp," the village boys would tease. Even the elders of the village would shake their heads in pity. "You should focus on something else, child," they advised. But Samuel refused to listen. Deep inside, he knew that as long as he kept trying, he could prove everyone wrong. Every morning before sunrise, he would wake up, tie his worn-out shoes, and train. He ran through the fields, up the hills, and along the rocky paths. The pain in his leg never stopped him. It only fueled his determination. One day, news spread throughout the village that the kingdom's grand annual race was approaching. This was no ordinary race. It was the ultimate test of endurance and speed, where only the best runners from every town and village would compete for the champion's title. The winner would receive a gold medal and the honor of being named the fastest in the land. When Samuel announced that he would enter the race, the entire village laughed. Even his parents, though supportive, were hesitant. "Are you sure, my son? The other competitors have trained their whole lives for this." "It won't be easy," his mother said, her eyes filled with worry. Samuel nodded confidently. "I have to try. I want to prove to everyone and to myself that I can do it." Despite the doubts surrounding him, he intensified his training. He woke up earlier, pushed himself harder, and even practiced running in the rain to build endurance. His mentor, an old retired runner named Elias, noticed his determination and decided to help him. "Speed isn't just about how fast your legs move," Elias told him one evening as they stood by the river. "It's about heart, willpower, and believing in yourself when no one else does. If you keep running with all of that inside you, you'll go farther than you ever imagined." With renewed motivation, Samuel trained relentlessly. He learned to compensate for his limp by adjusting his posture, focusing on balance, and strengthening the muscles in his legs. Days turned into weeks, and soon, the race day arrived. The kingdom's race was held in the capital city, where thousands of spectators gathered to watch. The air was thick with excitement as the competitors took their positions at the starting line. Samuel stood among them, feeling a mix of nerves and determination. He saw the other runners, tall, muscular, and confident. Some sneered at him, while others simply ignored him. But Samuel wasn't here for their approval. He was here to run. The horn sounded, and the race began. The runners surged forward like arrows released from a bow. Samuel started off slower than the rest, his limp making it harder to keep up. The crowd gasped as he fell behind in the first few minutes. "I knew he wouldn't last," someone whispered. But Samuel wasn't discouraged. He focused on his breathing, the rhythm of his steps, and the voice of Elias in his head. "Run with your heart, not just your legs." He pushed himself harder, ignoring the pain. One by one, he began to overtake the slower runners. The path became more challenging, rocky slopes, muddy trails, and steep inclines, but Samuel didn't stop. He remembered his training in the hills of his village and used every bit of strength he had to keep going. As the final stretch approached, Samuel found himself among the top 5 runners. The finish line was in sight, but his body screamed for rest. Sweat dripped down his face, and his legs felt like lead. Then, he heard a voice in the crowd. "Go, Samuel." It was his mother, her eyes filled with pride. Something ignited within him. With everything he had left, he sprinted forward, ignoring the pain, the exhaustion, and the doubts. He surged past one, then another, until only one runner remained ahead of him. With one final burst of energy, Samuel lunged forward just as they crossed the finish line. Silence filled the air. Then, the announcer's voice echoed through the crowd. By the slimmest of margins, the winner of this year's race is Samuel. The crowd erupted in cheers. Samuel stood there, panting heavily, his heart pounding against his chest. He had done it. He had proven them all wrong. Tears filled his eyes as the golden medal was placed around his neck. The very people who had doubted him now clapped and cheered his name. His parents embraced him, proud beyond words. Elias patted his shoulder and whispered, "I told you. You just had to believe." From that day on, Samuel became a legend, not just because he won the race, but because he never gave up. He showed the world that determination, heart, and an unbreakable spirit could overcome even the greatest of challenges. Lesson: true success is not measured by talent alone but by resilience, hard work, and belief in oneself. Even when faced with adversity and doubt, perseverance can turn the impossible into reality. Samuel's story teaches us that no matter how many obstacles stand in our way, if we refuse to give up, we can achieve our dreams.